folks. Welcome into That Betting Show for June 27, 2019. Your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. He's Teddy Severance. Give him a follow on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. I'm Donnie Seymour at Right Side VP. Let's get into it here. The Yankees erase a 5-run deficit and extend their home run streak. And how about those Phillies, Teddy? Last 3 games, overcoming not 2 runs, not 3 runs, but 4 runs in their past 3 victories. But let's get to the hot topic of the day. And it isn't the weather, Teddy. It's the Yankee bats. 29 straight games now with a home run. The warm weather in the Bronx. A lot of run scoring. A lot of comebacks here. And I know a lot of people yesterday, Teddy, going, ha, if you bet those New York Yankees at that big number. Not so fast. That lineup is a 3-run home run away from getting right back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a home run in 29 straight games, that's the modern MLB. Is you got to be able to go deep. You got to be able to hit yard. And the Yankees obviously have been doing that exceptionally well over the course of the season and certainly over the course of the last month. But from a betting standpoint, it's really hard for me to get involved with the Yankees right now. The markets are not mispricing this team. They're not sleeping on the Bronx Bombers, not anymore, not since they've gotten healthy. And even with them still a little bit banged up and Stanton going back on the DL, Yankees are a scary baseball team. And as a bettor, it gives you a difficult conundrum every day because, the elite teams, the Yankees, the Astros, the Dodgers, yes, they are that good, but they're being priced like they're that good every single night.
No, you're absolutely right. The next game we're going to talk about right here, a plus 330 ticket comes in. It's interesting because when you look at the pitching matchups, we talked about it yesterday, Teddy, when you have like those aces on the mound, you go, oh, I don't want to fade that ace. He could have a great outing at any time. Chris Sale gets roughed up right off the bat. The White Sox look like they were going to be an easy winner, but yet all the way through the game, those hot bats and the Red Sox come back. There is no time limit in Major League Baseball, but a 2-run blast in the 9th inning by Jose Abreu sets that ticket in. Plus 330, Teddy. That's what baseball's about.
Yeah, when you're catching plus 330s, you had a good day. Obviously, when I talked about the 3 elite teams a moment ago, the Dodgers, the Astros, the Yankees, I did not include the defending World Series champs amongst those 3 elites because they're not. Why are they not? The bullpen. Flat out. Boston's, but what I had them over the weekend. They had a 6-0 lead. Well, they lost that game. And again, yesterday with opportunities. And no, Sale didn't pitch his best. But Boston's supposed to win that game. But they didn't because, once again, the bullpen comes up short. And the White Sox are going to make a lot of money for their backers. You've been betting on Chicago at nice plus prices. You're probably enjoying the month of June a whole lot.
Hey, Teddy, quick question for you here, because Major League Baseball, obviously it's the middle of the summer, but some interesting circumstances usually pop their head up. We saw the pictures today of the, $500,000 flight that the Boston Red Sox are taking across seas to play a baseball game a baseball series versus the Red Sox and the Yankees. When we take a look at fields that, Major League Baseball is not used to playing in this environment. It's a new type of place. We know these teams bomb away. Does that take a little bit out of your mind and say, you know what, let me take a step back and at least maybe watch a game here before we actually bet into this number? Or is it just say, you know what, baseball as usual here?
Oh, no. You want to know the wind conditions. You want to know the field conditions. I remember they were playing down in Puerto Rico, and it was a big deal as to, all right, well, this is what the totals were in the States. But what was that? At Walker Stadium, here in Walker Stadium, I believe it was. Where all of a sudden, your totals better be about 2 runs higher than they were. Even the same pitchers and the same lineups in this country. So I have no idea. I've not done any research yet on the stadium. I don't know how it plays. I will be paying attention to those sort of factors over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours. But in general, you better know that ballpark before you get involved with the total. It's not about the lineups and the pitchers alone. The ballpark dimensions and how the ball carries. We talked about Arizona with the roof open versus with the roof closed and the difference that makes in Arizona. I expect those conditions will make a difference in London, both on the posted total and whether that total ends up going over or under.
Yeah, we'll have some fun with that tomorrow and take a look at it a little bit closer, maybe get some of the dimensions up there. Because once the Major League Baseball gets over there, they're going to start that huge, PR storm, and you'll get some nice pictures, which are already coming out last week. It looks like a really neat environment, but then again, some of these players might not be used to be playing there. How about this one, Teddy? It's no surprise here, right, with the New York Mets, right? Vargas, Cy Young Vargas, as I like to call him right now, dominated the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday. 10 strikeouts. He gets removed from the game with the lead. And in comes that New York Mets bullpen, which implodes, which leads to Jay Bruce, of all people, leading and having a walk-off hit, or actually a walk-off double in extra innings to take the 5-4 wins. The Phillies needed those 3 wins, but that's typical Mets faction, Teddy. 3 straight games, 2-run lead, 3-run lead, 4-run lead. Today they play again. Maybe they blow a 5-run lead here, Teddy.
Yeah, maybe they will. Let's give Vargas some credit. All right. The advanced metrics haven't been good. The markets have been against him. He was dealing with some significant distractions, and he came out and pitched a gem. Of course, behind him, then Lugo came in and got bombed, and lo and behold, here come the Phillies. But Vargas pitched well yesterday, and that's something to note moving forward. Worth also noting a Phillies bullpen. And we talked about all the bad bullpens in the NL East, and how bad the Nats bullpen has been, and how bad the Braves bullpen has been, and how bad the Phillies. Right now the Mets bullpen is the worst of the bunch. But the Phillies bullpen last night, notably better. Atlanta's bullpen's been better of late. Washington's bullpen's been better of late. But the Philadelphia Phillies, 4 1/3 scoreless innings of work last night from the pen, allowing just 1 hit during that span.
Phillies go for that 4-game sweep this afternoon. By the time the show comes out today, Teddy, probably have a final, and hopefully those Phillies have got them 4 in a row. Yes, you can call me a homer. Yes, I am a Philadelphia Phillies fan. But you know what time it is now, Teddy? Even though it's June, as we like to say, we're a week away from July, and then August turns there. College football is right on the horizon. The top 20 college football team preview for that betting show today, those Nebraska Cornhuskers. How about this? Yesterday we previewed another Big Ten team that was 150 to 1. Let's take it down a little bit here. 50 to 1 Nebraska to win the 2019 college championship. The Cornhuskers team total in the season, 8.5, finishing 4-8 last year. 3-6 in Big Ten play. First year for Scott Frost. He's going to get another year out there. He has an electric, talented quarterback that can both throw and run, but the key is to keeping that young kid healthy there. So we'll see how that protrudes. But also, I always like to take a look at team totals and how they're going to fare by the schedule that sets up. You want to get, after a losing season, some good mojo back in your book, Teddy. Looks like they can start that, opening with South Alabama, Colorado, Northern Illinois, and Illinois before taking on Ohio State at home. They have to improve that defense, though, Teddy. Remember back in the day, in the 90s, early 2000s, the black shirt defense, how well they played? 88th in the country last year nationally and 12th in the Big Ten. That must improve, Teddy, to have a pretty good season here.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we talk about Nebraska last year, Scott Frost's first year on the job, they finished 4-8, okay? And now here they are ranked in the top 20. We've done 3 straight Big Ten teams, in Wisconsin, Iowa, and Nebraska, all top 20 teams, and we haven't even gotten to the Ohio States or Michigans of the world yet. 4-8 last year, but it started 0-6 and finished 4-2. One of the losses, 36-31 at Ohio State. You can't blame them for a defeat like that. They beat Sparty down the stretch. And, of course, you have Adrian Martinez, a guy who's getting Heisman hype now in his sophomore year. Scott Frost, quote, I hope he's thought of the greatest ever to play at Nebraska at that position. Defensive lineman Darian Daniels talking about what other Big 12 quarterback he's faced was most like Martinez in the run-pass threat. The name he dropped, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so you want to talk about big expectations. There's huge expectations for this kid. And admittedly, okay, he's got talent. But when you talk about realistic expectations for a team that went 4-8 last year, remember, Scott Frost, UCF, the year before he got there, they were 0-12. His first year on the job, they went 6-7. His second year on the job, they went 13-0. The Nebraska fan base is expecting that type of a transition from winless to undefeated, from winless to undefeated in 2 years. That's not going to happen in the Big Ten. All right, offensive line, they got their tackles are set. 3 big graduation losses, lose 74 starts off that offensive line. I've got concerns about Martinez being able to stay healthy behind them. Defensively, you talked about it. I mean, again, we expect this team to score. Defensively, they weren't particularly good last year. They finished the 3rd most yards in the Big Ten. They give up more than 31 points per game. They have the base 3-4 defense. They're saying, oh, well, we know it now. Frost, once you figure it out, you can just play faster. You let everything go and just attack the ball. Defensive line has some experience. The secondary is a little bit dicey, and that's my biggest concern for Nebraska. They have a couple of experienced cornerbacks, but that's about it. I don't see the depth in the secondary or the experience in the secondary, and that's a big concern for me. Nebraska, of course, didn't bowl last year, going 4-8 for the 2nd straight year. Scott Frost, quote, I'm not used to having Christmas off. It was nice to be with family. I don't want it to ever happen again. Nebraska's a bowl team, for sure. I would, for sure. One would think Nebraska's a bowl team this year. 7, 8, 9 wins. top 20? I think the cart's maybe a little bit ahead of the horse for the Huskers right now. A team that has the potential to offer some point spread value, but the markets are not sleeping on Nebraska. If they end up being good, this team's going to get overpriced in a hurry. Scott Frost has a big betting bandwagon behind him.
Yep, Scott Frost, the conquering hero, returns home to Nebraska. We'll see how long that honeymoon lasts because, look, they don't want another losing season there, but obviously on the up and up, we'll see what happens there with Nebraska. We'll continue our coverage of college football's top 20 teams, leading you right up to opening day here at sportsbookreview.com. But now it's time to get into some numbers here. Overnight line moves. Where's the best place on the internet to get these line moves? Of course, it's SBRodds.com. Let's get into this one. Dodgers, Teddy, 2-1 favorites here on the road in elevation, as I love to say. Opened up minus 175, now sitting at SBRodds.com right around minus 200. Rockies getting plus 185, a total of 11.5. It's Buehler coming in hot. How about this, Teddy? 100 strikeouts and 13 walks in the season versus Lambert. Those lefty bats are coming to Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. Buehler's numbers have impressed the hell out of the advanced metrics market, and the numbers guys, the analytics guys are betting him every single start. That's why we're seeing this money. There's another thing worth noting for the Dodgers. They lost 6 straight games the second week of April. Since that time, their longest losing streak is 2 games, and they're 15-3 straight up off a loss. Dodgers lost yesterday in Arizona, worth noting.
How about those Nationals looking for another win down in Miami in that big cavernous stadium? Nationals actually opened up, Teddy, minus 180, now sitting around minus 200. And if we take a look at that total, it's 7.5. We'll see if they get after. They had a lot of ninth inning fireworks last night down there. We'll see if that goes over Strasburg versus Alcantara today.
The markets really don't like Alcantara. A guy with a 3.53 ERA, but his xFIP is over 5. So the analytics guys say his strikeout rate is too low, which is very low strikeout rate. And he has a very high walk rate. That's how we have a 3.53 ERA and an xFIP that's a 1.5 higher. The Nats, they've been taking money consistently lately. They're 20-9 their last 29 games. And remember we were talking about Washington as being a dead team and what are they going to do? Well, it's halfway through the season. They're only 2.5 games out of the wild card spot in the NL right now. The market's saying, watch out for the Nats, especially with Strasburg on the hill against a pitcher they don't trust in Miami.
Watch out for the Nats, Teddy, and watch for what you betting show. We got a doubleheader coming up here, and 2 young guns are on the mound here, Teddy, in the NL West tilt. And yes, pun intended here. We'll get to that in just a few moments. Diamondbacks and the Giants minus 105. Roughly a pick 'em here with a total of 8.5. The Diamondbacks 41-41 on the season, 24-19 away. The Giants 34-45 on the season, 16-23 away. Young versus Beatty on the mound.
Yeah, I mean, the season series has been all about the road team so far this season. The D-backs swept a 3-game series in San Fran. San Fran took 2 out of 3 in Arizona last week. The road team 7-2 in the 9 meetings between these 2 squads this year. There's 2 schools of thought about what we want to do with the young lefty Alex Young making his MLB debut tonight for Arizona. All right, you look at his numbers from AAA and you go, how's this guy getting the call up? 6.09 ERA in 20 games, only 8 of them starts for Reno. And then you read the quote from Torey Lovello, Arizona's manager. Quote, I remember a couple of his outings that he did in spring training. I was impressed with the short looks that we got, and that's what spring training's all about. Make a positive impression on the staff. You're not going to make the team. You're there just for a quick shot. Those aren't bet on, that's not a bet on quote, and those aren't bet on AAA numbers. All that being said, San Fran can't hit lefty. San Fran can't hit anyone right now. Bruce Bochy, as a club, we're not hitting well. Let's be honest. We're around 220. Buster Posey's in a nasty slump, and here's a young lefty making his first trip. He's making his debut, but San Fran hasn't seen him before. Normally, that's advantage young lefty. And it really is. And certainly Beatty's not a guy who I want my money on. He's a bottom-tier starter. Arizona faced him last week, and they smacked him around. And also, we're talking about a guy, the 6.96 ERA is disastrous. The 5.18 xFIP, you say, oh, well, he's not quite that bad. Yeah, he is. Way too many walks. But the Giants, 5-1 on his starts this season because they scored 31 runs for him, the only guy they've been hitting for all year long.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that San Francisco Giants lineup today. A lot of red lights there and also playing in a ballpark not really conducive to a lot of power, but we'll see what happens here. We'll keep it in the state of California here, and we'll flip it over to another team here. Late night AL West combination tonight. Athletics and the Angels minus 158 total of 9.5. It's going to be at 10:07 tonight. Angel Stadium of Anaheim, live from where else? Anaheim, California. The A's are 43-38 on the season. The Angels 41-40. Anderson versus the young kid Canning on the mound today.
Yeah, and, both teams playing good ball right now. Oakland's, 7-2 in their last 9, 5 games over 500 for the first time this season. The Angels, if they win tonight, will be a season best 2 games over 500. Both teams coming off sweeps. The A's beating the Cards 2 games. The Angels beating the Reds in a couple of games. So it's 2 teams that have been on the cusp of making some noise. It's a big series. It really is. Now, Canning making his 3rd start against the A's in less than a month. He hasn't faced any other team more than once. His first start was really good. The second start, 4 runs, 7 hits, wasn't as good. I do worry about the third look. The question is, what do we do with Anderson for Oakland? He's not a guy who the markets are particularly high on. 26-year-old righty making his 4th start since his promotion from AAA. And the Angels are hitting the ball right now. We've seen a fair bit of over money at a handful of books in this ball game. And frankly, if I had to make a wager on the total for this game, I don't know that I trust either one of these starters or bullpens to get the job done. Worth noting, Oakland's closer, Treinen, on the DL right now.
Yep, always interesting here, Teddy, on these Thursday shows because we have most of these games going off before the show actually goes on. But you had a nice little shot to take a look at a couple games tonight. Had a lot of fun, but it's off the mic segment, Teddy. It's every day until we have this NBA free agency settled here. It's going to be like As the World Turns. Today, it's our Thursday edition of As the NBA Turns. How about this coming out of left field? You see the tweets, you see social media. Wojnarowski, Celtics now front runners to sign Kemba Walker. With Kyrie Irving and Al Horford out the door, some money frees up, and you get that dynamic score to try to replace those guys. If we take a look at it from a Charlotte perspective here, how about this, Teddy? You work all your life. You get eligible for that Supermax. $221 million coming your way. And Michael Jordan says, I don't really know if we can afford it, but hey, what's the difference between 221 and 140, right, Teddy, between friends?
Well, that's just it. $81 million is a ridiculous amount of money to me or you or everybody that's watching this show. All right, and, I've never had $81 million. I don't think you have. I don't think any of our audience has. But when you already have $140 million in the bank, then the 81 is like, okay, what's my legacy going to be? What are my sponsorship opportunities going to be? Can I win a title? Can I chase a ring? And that ain't happening in Charlotte. It's not. And Kemba can be the fan favorite, and Kemba can be a local hero his whole life, or he can try to move to the national stage where he was in college when he took his team to a national title. Look, if Boston's got the opportunity to bring this guy in, Kemba Walker is a winner, and he is a stud, and he has been an undervalued, and he's a chemistry guy too. A++ move for the Celtics. Comparing, I like Kyrie's game. I don't like Kyrie in the locker room. I do like Kemba Walker in the locker room, and if Boston can pull this off, it's a winning move for the Celtics. As for Charlotte, well, they are what they are. Small market teams develop their stars, so the big market teams can gobble them up.
Yeah, it's going to be fun next week before Teddy and I both take a break here on that betting show for the month of July. We're going to be able to go over some NBA big movers, as we say in these overnight line movers, on some of these future totals, because when the guys officially change hands, those numbers are really going to change. We'll have a lot of fun here on that betting show. But thanks for tuning in today, June 27, 2019. Once again, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs. Today, got you in and out in under 20 minutes. He's Teddy Savransky. Give him a follow once again on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. I'm Donnie Seymour, Right Side VP. We'll be back tomorrow on Friday to set you up for the weekend. Good luck on those tickets tonight, people.